Captain Lee Minho pressed his palm against the cold metal wall of the observation deck. Through the massive window, stars stretched endlessly in all directions. Each point of light reminded him of how far they were from home. The Kepler's hope was humanity's greatest achievement, a city in space carrying 50,000 people to a new world. But right now it felt more like a coffin drifting through the darkness. Captain, still no response from Earth. Park Ji called from her communication station. Her voice was quiet, tired. For 6 months she had sent the same messages to Earth every day. For 6 months, only silence answered back. Minho walked slowly across the bridge. His footsteps echoed in the quiet space. 3 years ago, when they left Earth, the radio waves were full of life. News reports, music, conversations between ships. Earth never stopped talking. Now there was nothing. Not even the background noise that always came from a living planet. Arya, run another deep scan of Earth's solar system, Minho said to the ship's computer. Scanning complete, Captain. The artificial voice replied immediately. No electromagnetic activity detected from Earth. No radio signals. No television broadcasts. No satellite communications. The probability that all systems failed at once is less than 1 in a million. Navigator Kim Hanna looked up from her chart. Her hands were shaking slightly as she worked. Captain, what if they're really gone? What if we're the only humans left alive? The question hung in the air like poison. 50,000 people on one ship, traveling between stars at incredible speed, but still so small and alone in the vast emptiness of space. If Earth was truly dead, then they were orphans with no home to return to. Minho thought about his wife, Suyang. She had wanted to come with him on the colony mission, but someone needed to stay behind to help prepare the next group of colonists. She kissed him goodbye at the launch pad and promised to follow on the next ship. That was 3 years ago. Would he ever see her again? We don't know what happened, Minho said finally. Maybe it's a solar storm that knocked out their communications. Maybe it's something else. But we can't assume the worst. But Captain, said Dr. Song Minji from the science station, we've detected no changes in solar activity. No cosmic events that could cause this kind of total silence. Something happened to Earth and we need to face that possibility. The bridge crew looked at their captain. These people had families too. Parents, children, friends, all left behind on Earth. The silence wasn't just scary, it was heartbreaking. Every day without contact made it harder to hope. Sir, Park Jisoo said quietly, some of the colonists are asking questions. They want to know why we haven't heard from home. The rumors are starting to spread through the ship. Minho knew this. What happened? 50,000 people living together in space was like a small city. News traveled fast, and fear traveled even faster. If panic started, it would be hard to stop. What kind of rumors? He asked. Some people think Earth was attacked. Others believe there was a war, or a plague, or some kind of disaster. A few are saying we should turn around and go back to find out what happened. Turn around? Kim Hanna looked shocked. Captain, we're 3 years into our journey. If we turn back now, we'll use up most of our fuel. We might not make it to Proxima Centaurian. We definitely couldn't make a second attempt. Minho walked to the big window again. Out there, somewhere behind them, was Earth, their home, the place where humans had lived for thousands of years. But ahead of them was Proxima Centauri, where they planned to build a new home for humanity. Arya, what's our current status? He asked. All systems operating normally. Captain, life support is stable. Food supplies are adequate for the planned journey. Morale indicators show elevated stress levels among the population, but no immediate concerns. Elevated stress levels, that was a polite way to say people were scared and getting more scared every day. Captain, Dr. Song said, I've been thinking about this silence. What if it's not an accident? What if Earth went quiet on purpose? What do you mean? What if they're hiding from something? What if keeping silent is the only way to stay safe? The idea sent a chill down Minho's spine. Hiding from what? What could be so dangerous that an entire planet would go silent? That's just speculation, he said, but his voice didn't sound as confident as he wanted. Park Jisoo suddenly sat up straight at her station. Captain, I'm getting something strange. It's not from Earth, but it might be from our solar system. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at her. After 6 months of nothing, any signal was important. What kind of signal? Minho asked. It's very weak, and it's buried in a lot of background noise. But Captain, it's using our military encryption codes. Codes that only this ship should have. The bridge fell completely silent. If someone was using their codes, it meant someone knew they were out here. Someone was trying to talk to them specifically. Minho felt his heart start beating faster. Maybe Earth wasn't dead after all. Maybe they were just waiting for the right moment to speak. Captain Lee Minho was deep in sleep when the loud knocking started on his door. He rolled over and looked at the clock. 3 in the morning. Nobody disturbed the captain at this hour unless something was very wrong or very important. "Come in," he called, sitting up in bed. Chief Communications Officer Yoon Tae-yeon rushed into the room. His hair was messy and his eyes were red from lack of sleep, but he was more excited than Minho had seen him in months. "Captain, you have to see this right now," Tae-yeon said, almost bouncing on his feet. "I found something. I found a signal." Minho was instantly awake. "A signal? From Earth? Better than that. Get dressed and come with me to the communications room. You won't believe this." 5 minutes later, Minho followed Tae-yeon through the quiet corridors of the ship. Most people were asleep, but the night shift workers they passed looked curious about where the captain was going so late in the communications room. Tae-yeon sat down at his workstation and started typing quickly. "For the past 3 weeks I've been doing something different. Instead of just listening for normal radio signals, I've been studying the background radiation of space itself." "Background radiation?" Minho asked. "Yes, space isn't really empty. It's full of tiny signals from stars, planets, and cosmic events. Most of it is just noise, but sometimes artificial signals get mixed in. I thought maybe someone was trying to hide a message in all that noise." Tae-yeon pulled up a display showing wave patterns that looked like mountains and valleys. "Look at this. Most of these waves are natural, but this one section is different. It's too regular, too organized. It has to be artificial." Park Jisoo arrived at the communications room, still wearing her sleeping clothes. "Tae-yeon sent me an emergency message." "What's happening?" "Show her," Minho said. Tae-yeon pointed to specific parts of the wave pattern. "This signal is encrypted using military codes. But not just any military codes. It's using the same encryption system that the Kepler's Hope uses. These are codes that only our ship should have." Park Jisoo leaned closer to the screen. "Are you saying someone on Earth knows our secret codes and is trying to send us a message?" "That's what I thought at first," Tae-yeon said. "But I tracked where the signal came from. It's not coming from Earth." Minho felt his heart start beating faster. "Where is it coming from?" "The moon. Specifically, from the far side of the moon, the side that always faces away from Earth." The three of them stared at the display in silence. A signal from the moon meant there were people there. People who knew the Kepler's Hope existed and wanted to contact them secretly. "How long will it take to decode the message?" Minho asked. "I'm not sure. These encryption codes are very complex. Maybe a few hours, maybe a day or two, then get started. And Tae-yeon, don't tell anyone else about this yet. If there's a message from human survivors, I want to know what it says before word spreads around the ship." For the next 18 hours, Tae-yeon worked without stopping. He drank coffee, ate energy bars, and stared at his computer screen while the ship's most powerful computers tried to break the encryption. Park Jisoo helped him, and Dr. Song Min-gi joined them when she heard what was happening. Other crew members started to notice the activity in the communications room, but Minho told them it was just routine maintenance. He didn't want to give people false hope if the message turned out to be nothing important. Finally, at 9 o'clock the next night, Tae-yeon called everyone to his station. "I got it," he said. His voice was hoarse from exhaustion, but his eyes were shining. "The message is decoded." The text appeared on the main screen in simple English letters. Minho read it out loud. "Kepler's Hope. This is Lunar Base Omega. Earth is not dead. We are hiding. Electromagnetic silence maintained for 347 days. Hostile intelligence monitoring all human communications. Do not respond. Await further instructions. Earth endures." The room fell completely silent. Minho read the message again, making sure he understood every word. "They're alive," Kim Hannah whispered. "Everyone on Earth is alive. But they're hiding," Dr. Song said. "The message says hostile intelligence monitoring all human communications. That means someone or something is watching us." Minho felt relief and fear at the same time. Relief because Earth wasn't dead. Billions of people were still alive. Fear because they were hiding from something dangerous enough to make the entire planet go silent. "Lunar Base Omega Park," Jisoo said. "I've never heard of any base on the moon with that name. It must be secret," Tae-yeon said. "A hidden base that Earth built without telling anyone. Maybe they built it just in case something like this happened." "The message says do not respond," Minho pointed out. "They don't want us to send any signals back. That means whatever is watching Earth might be able to track us too." 347 days, Dr. Song said. "That's how long Earth has been silent." They went quiet about a month before we lost contact with them. Minho looked at his crew. These people had spent months thinking they might be the last humans alive. Now they knew that wasn't true, but they also knew that Earth was in danger. What do we do now, Captain? Kim Hanna asked. Minho stared at the message on the screen. Earth was alive but hiding. Something was hunting them, and the Kepler's Hope was alone in space, waiting for instructions that might never come. We wait, he said finally. We wait and we stay ready for whatever comes next. 2 days after the first message, the communications room filled with urgent beeping sounds. Yun Taeyon was at his station when the new signal arrived, and this time he immediately called Captain Lee and the senior staff. Another transmission from Lunar Base Omega, Taeyon announced as everyone gathered around his workstation. This one is much longer than the first. Dr. Song Minji hurried into the room, carrying her tablet computer. As the ship's expert on alien life, she had been studying every detail of the first message. Have you decoded it yet? Just finished, Taeyon said, bringing the text up on the main screen. But Captain, you need to read this yourself. It's terrifying. Captain Lee stepped forward and began reading the message out loud, so everyone could hear. The enemy calls themselves the Harvesters. They are not biological creatures like us. They are ancient machine intelligence robots that have existed for thousands of years. They travel through space, looking for civilizations that are becoming technologically advanced. When they find these civilizations, they monitor them and then destroy them completely. The room became very quiet. Dr. Song looked pale as she listened. Minho continued reading. The Harvesters have been watching humanity for over 100 years. Every radio signal we ever sent, every television broadcast, every satellite communication, they recorded all of it. They have been studying us, learning about us, waiting for the right time to attack. 100 years, Park Jisoo whispered. They've been watching us since before any of us were born. There's more, Minho said, reading further. The Harvesters have done this to other civilizations too. Dozens of other intelligent species across the galaxy. They find them, study them, and then harvest them. That's why they call themselves Harvesters. Navigator Kim Hanna sat down heavily in her chair. Harvest them. What does that mean exactly? Dr. Song was reading the technical data on her tablet. According to this, the Harvesters collect the resources, technology, and knowledge of each civilization they destroy. They use what they learn to become stronger and find more civilizations. So they're like a disease, Taeyon said. They spread across the galaxy, killing everything intelligent they find. Minho continued reading the message. Earth's governance discovered the Harvester surveillance network 18 months ago. Scientists found their listening posts hidden throughout our solar system, on asteroids, on the outer planets, even in Earth's orbit. The Harvesters have been recording everything we do. That's why Earth went silent. Park Jisoo realized. They discovered they were being watched, so they stopped all communications to hide. But it gets worse, Dr. Song said, looking at more technical data. The message includes coordinates. Look at this star chart. She put the information on the main display. It showed their solar system with several red dots marking locations. The Harvester's main command ship is hiding in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Dr. Song explained. It's been there for months, waiting and watching. Waiting for what? Kim Hanna asked. Minho read the final part of the message and felt his blood turn cold. Waiting for us to reveal ourselves. Earth went dark and is hiding, but the Kepler's Hope is still sending signals. We're still broadcasting our location every day with our navigation beacons and communication systems. The terrible truth hit everyone at the same time. Park Jisoo spoke first. We're bait. The Harvesters are following us, not looking for Earth anymore. The message says that's exactly what Earth hoped would happen. Minho continued reading. By staying hidden while we traveled through space, Earth drew the Harvesters' attention away from the planet. We're protecting billions of people without knowing it. Taeyon looked worried. But Captain, if they're following us, won't they eventually catch us? Or follow us to Proxima Centauri and destroy our new colony? That's where this gets interesting, Dr. Song said, pulling up more technical data. The message includes detailed plans for something called a null wave generator. According to this, it's the only weapon that can damage Harvester technology. Minho studied the technical specifications. They were complex, but he could understand the basic idea. It's some kind of electromagnetic pulse weapon. It sends out waves that can shut down their computer systems. Can we build one? Kim Hanna asked. The message says we can, Dr. Song replied. But there's a problem. The null wave generator requires enormous amounts of power. More power than our ship normally produces. How much power? Minho asked. All of it. We would have to use our main fusion engines to generate the electromagnetic pulse. But Captain, if we do that, we won't have enough fuel left to reach Proxima Centauri. The room fell silent as everyone understood what this meant. They could build a weapon to fight the harvesters, but using it would strand them in space, far from any planet where they could survive. There's something else, Taeyeon said quietly. The message says the null wave generator only works at close range. We would have to get very close to the harvester command ship to use it. How close? Minho asked. Close enough that if we miss, or if the weapon doesn't work perfectly, they'll destroy us before we can try again. Captain Lee looked around at his crew. 50,000 people were depending on him to make the right choice. Earth was hiding and hoping that Kepler's hope would lead the harvesters away. But now they had a chance to fight back if they were willing to risk everything. So our choices are simple, he said finally. We can continue to Proxima Centauri and hope the harvesters don't follow us there. Or we can turn around, go back toward Earth, and try to destroy their command ship with a weapon we've never built before. The weight of 50,000 lives pressed down on his shoulders as he realized that humanity's survival might depend on the decision he made next. The third and final message from Lunar Base Omega arrived exactly 1 week later. This time, Captain Lee called all the senior officers and department heads to the main conference room. What they were about to discuss would affect every person on the ship. The decoded message appeared on the big screen, and Minho read the opening lines out loud. Earth's population, 8.2 billion souls in underground cities, living as ghosts in our own world. Harvesters still searching solar system, will not leave until they confirm human extinction. Dr. Song Minji stood up and pointed to the technical data streaming across the screen. The message includes complete blueprints for the null wave generator, plus detailed scans of the harvester command ship. Look at the size of this thing. A three-dimensional image appeared, showing the alien vessel. It was enormous, like a metal city floating in space among the asteroids, dark and angular, covered with strange geometric patterns and sensor arrays. It's over 5 kilometers long, Dr. Song continued, but the scans show a weakness. The ship's power core is located here, in the center. If we can hit it with the null wave generator, we can shut down their entire system. Navigator Kim Hannah was working frantically at her computer, running calculations. Captain, I've been figuring out the travel time. If we turn around now and head back to Earth, it will take us exactly 2 years to reach the solar system. 2 years, repeated Chief Engineer Oh Sun-hoon. That's a long time. What if the harvesters find Earth while we're traveling back? The message says Earth can stay hidden as long as the harvesters think we're the only humans left alive, Min explained. As long as we keep broadcasting and moving away from Earth, the harvesters will follow us and ignore Earth. But if we turn around and head back, Park Ji-soo said, won't that make the harvesters suspicious? Dr. Song studied the tactical data. According to this, we need to be very careful about how we approach. We can't just fly straight back to Earth. We need to make it look like we're heading somewhere else, then change course at the last minute. Even if we do everything perfectly, Kim Hannah said, looking up from her calculations. There's another problem. Using the null wave generator will drain almost all our fuel. We won't have enough power left to reach Proxima Centauri. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. If they went back to fight the harvesters, they would be giving up their colony mission. Even if they won, they might not have enough fuel to go anywhere else. So our choices are clear, said. We can continue to Proxima Centauri and build a new human colony, but Earth stays trapped. Or we can go back and try to save Earth, but risk losing everything. What if we fail? Asked Dr. Kim Sun-ho from the medical department. What if we go back and the weapon doesn't work? Then both Earth and our colony mission are finished, Minho said honestly. Humanity ends. For the next 4 hours, they debated, the room filled with voices as people argued for both sides. We have a responsibility to the 50,000 people on this ship, said Security Chief Lim Jin-ho. We can't risk their lives for a plan that might not work. But we also have a responsibility to the 8.2 billion people hiding on Earth, replied Dr. Song. They're living like prisoners in their own world. The harvesters will eventually leave, suggested Communications Officer Lee Yuna. Maybe Earth just needs to wait longer. The message says they won't leave until they confirm human extinction, Taeyeon pointed out. They could search for decades. As the debate continued, Minho noticed that Engineer Oh Sung-hoon hadn't said anything. The man sat quietly, staring at his hands. Sung-hoon, Minho said, what do you think? Oh looked up with tears in his eyes. Captain, my brother Minho is down there. He lives in Seoul with his wife and 2 little children. When I left Earth, I promised him I would build a new world where his kids could be safe and free. And you can still do that on Proxima Centauri, said Navigator Kim. But what kind of new world would it be? Ao asked. My brother is living underground, like a rat, afraid to make any noise because monsters are hunting him. My parents are down there too. My old friends from school. 8 billion people hiding in tunnels and caves, waiting for someone to save them. Ao stood up and looked around the room. They gave up everything to save us. They went silent and hid underground so we could escape. They're living like ghosts because they love us. How can we abandon them now? The room became quiet. Many people had family on Earth too. Parents, children, siblings, friends, all hiding in those underground cities. I say we vote, Minho announced. Everyone on the ship gets to decide. This is too important for just the officers to choose. It took 3 days to organize the vote. Every person over the age of 16 got to participate. They set up voting stations throughout the ship and explained the situation to everyone. The results were announced in the main assembly hall. 26,000 votes to return to Earth, 24,000 votes to continue to Proxima Centauri. The margin was small, but democracy had spoken. Captain Lee stood at the podium and looked out at the faces of his people. The vote is clear, we're going home. Chief Engineer O began the process of turning the ship around. It took 6 hours to complete the maneuver, but finally the Kepler's Hope was heading back toward Earth. As Minho stood on the observation deck watching the stars wheel around them, he wondered if they had just chosen to be heroes or fools. In 2 years they would find out. 2 years had passed since the Kepler's Hope turned around and began its journey back to Earth. Captain Lee Minho looked much older now. His hair had turned gray at the temples, and lines of worry marked his face. The stress of preparing for battle while keeping 50,000 people alive and hopeful had taken its toll on everyone aboard the ship. The Kepler's Hope drifted quietly through the outer edge of Earth's solar system. All unnecessary systems were shut down to avoid detection. The ship ran on minimal power, just enough to keep people alive and the weapons system ready. We're approaching the asteroid belt, Navigator Kim Hana whispered. Even though they were in the vacuum of space where no one could hear them, everyone spoke quietly now. The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut with a knife. Over the past 2 years, Chief Engineer Oh Sung-hoon and his team had worked day and night to modify the ship's fusion engines. Where once there had been propulsion systems designed to push them through space, now there was the largest electromagnetic weapon ever built by human hands. The null wave generator took up 3 entire decks of the ship. Contact, Park, Jisoo said suddenly from her sensor station. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it might as well have been a shout in the quiet bridge. Harvester, command ship detected. Distance, 200 kilometers. The main screen flickered to life, showing the alien vessel floating among the asteroids like a nightmare made real. It was even more terrifying than the images from Lunar Base Omega had suggested. The ship stretched over 5 kilometers from end to end. Its dark metal surface covered with strange geometric patterns that seemed to hurt the eyes to look at directly. My God, Dr. Song breathed. It's enormous. Captain Lee opened a communication channel knowing this might be the last time he ever spoke to Earth. Lunar Base Omega, this is Kepler's Hope. We are in position and ready to begin the attack. The response came immediately. Asterisk copy. Kepler's Hope. 8 billion people are watching from their underground cities. We're all counting on you. Make us proud. Asterisk Minho closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of those 8 billion lives. Then he opened them and looked at his crew. These people had volunteered to risk everything for humanity. They had left behind their chance for a peaceful life on a new world to come back and fight an enemy they barely understood. All stations, prepare for combat, he ordered. The harvester ship detected them within seconds, its surface lit up with weapon ports and sensor arrays. The alien vessel began turning toward them, moving with mechanical precision. They're targeting us, Park Jisoo reported, multiple weapon systems locking on. Begin evasive maneuvers, Minho commanded. Get us into firing range. The Kepler's Hope accelerated toward the harvester ship, dodging the first wave of energy weapons that lit up space around them. The alien weapons were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Beams of pure energy that could slice through metal, like paper. Direct hit on Deck 15. Engineer O shouted over the noise of alarms. Hull breach, we're losing atmosphere. Seal that section, Minho ordered. How much closer do we need to get? 1 more kilometer, Dr. Song called out, monitoring the weapon systems. The null wave generator needs to be almost on top of them to work. The ship shuddered as more alien weapons struck their hull. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, and the lights flickered. Through the main screen, Minho could see small harvester drones launching from the command ship, metallic insects swarming toward them with deadly intent. Drone swarm incoming, Kim Hanna reported. 30:40. I count over 60 drones. The drones reached them first, their weapons tearing into the Kepler's Hope-S armor. Each drone was only the size of a car, but they moved fast and hit hard. The ship's hull began to buckle under the concentrated fire. We're losing structural integrity, O warned. Hull breaches on multiple decks. How much longer? Minho asked. 15 seconds to optimal firing range, Dr. Song replied. Those 15 seconds felt like 15 hours. The ship groaned and shook as the harvester weapons tore into it. More alarms sounded as systems failed throughout the vessel. We're in range, Dr. Song shouted. Charging the null wave generator now. Every light on the ship dimmed as massive amounts of power flowed into the weapon. The fusion reactors roared at maximum output, feeding energy into the electromagnetic pulse system. Generator at 50% charge, Park Jisoo called out. Another direct hit shook the ship violently. We're losing life support on decks 8 through 12, O reported. 75% charge. The harvester command ship loomed huge on their screen now, close enough to see individual weapon ports firing at them. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. A perfect machine, built for destruction. 100% charge, Park shouted. Null wave generator ready to fire. Captain Lee looked around at his crew one last time. Park Jisoo at communications, her fingers dancing over controls even as sparks flew around her. Weapons station, sweat beading on her forehead as she monitored the generator. Navigator Kim Hanna keeping them on course despite the damage to their engines. Engineer O fighting to keep the ship together for just a few more seconds. For Earth, Minho said quietly. For humanity, fire. Park Jisoo pressed the firing control, and the null wave generator released 2 years of preparation in a single pulse of electromagnetic energy. The pulse erupted from their ship like a miniature star being born, washing over the harvester command vessel in waves of invisible force. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the alien ship's lights began to flicker and die. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull as its computer systems failed one by one. The great vessel went dark and began to drift lifeless among the asteroids. On Earth, far below them, cities that had been dark for 3 years suddenly blazed with light. The first radio transmission came from Seoul, then London, then New York. 8 billion voices joined together in celebration as humanity reclaimed its voice. Captain Lee Minho collapsed into his command chair, exhausted but victorious. Half his ship was destroyed, but they had won something greater than their own survival. They had given humanity back its freedom to speak to the stars.